Chapter 5 Movement Towards Independence.
Introduction.
The period from 1920 to 1947 is considered as Gandhian age and the Gandhian movements of struggle for independence. This second stage of national movement of India is the struggle for having constitutional rights. Moreover, it is the struggle for the freedom of India too. This struggle passed through a stream of events and there was a uniform effect of it. So we shall observe the effects in this chapter.
Simon Commission, 1927.
Montford or Montague-Kempsford 1919 amendment declared that a commission should be sent to India after 10 years to examine the effects and operations of the constitutional reforms and to suggest more reforms for India. But 2 years later, government appointed Simon Commission. The commission consisted of Sir John Simon and 7 other members. All of them were members of the British Parliament. There was not a single Indian as a member. Indians recommended inclusion of Indian members in the commission so as to understand the problems and pains of Indian society, but Britishers rejected this recommendation. So, the Indians decided to oppose it. Simon Commission was greeted with strikes, assembly, processions, loud slogans of Simon Go Back, and unfurling of black flags and apparel. The British government suppressed the movement mercilessly. The assistant police superintendent ordered lathi charge on Lalaji's procession. Lala Lajpat Rai was injured seriously while taking the lead of the procession in Lahore. Few months later, he passed away. The news of Lalaji's death instigated Veer Bhagat Singh, Sukhdev and Rajguru. Therefore, they killed Saunders. Nehru Committee. With the opposition of Simon Commission, Hindi Wazir Birkenhead presented a draft of the constitution as in Simon Commission, in which it stated that the Indian leaders of all parties formulate appropriate constitution which the British government will further think upon. By understanding the challenges of this report, National General Assembly President drafted Nehru Committee report. This report, which was given, is known as Nehru Report, which states the dominion status, independent judiciary, fundamental rights, and adult suffrage. Eventually, the British government rejected the recommendations made in this report. Demand for complete independence, 1929. During this time, National Assembly members Jawaharlal Nehru, Subhash Chandra Bose were active national leaders. They were the propagators of complete independence. Youth of India were not happy with the dominion status. On the banks of the river Ravi in Lahore, under the leadership of Jawaharlal Nehru, National General Assembly passed a resolution of complete independence. After that, on 26th January 1930, the members took the oath of complete independence. Since then, January 26th has become memorable for all of us. Independent India has made the Republic Day memorable by implementing the Constitution of India on this day. Dandi Yatra, from March 12th to April 6th, 1930. As a part of civil disobedience movement, Gandhiji decided to go to Dandi village by its sea coast to break the salt law. On the 11th of March evening, in the assembly of thousands of people, the message of Satyagraha was sent. Even if people got arrested, with firm determination of non-violence, struggle against government continued. On 12th March 1930, under his leadership, Gandhiji commenced Dandi Yatra with his supporters from Harijan Ashram, now Gandhi Ashram, singing the hymn Vaishnava Jan to tenere kahiye je, Peed parai jane re. Gandhiji said, in Dandi Yatra, 29th March 1930, I shall die the death of crow and dog, but I will not return to this ashram without attaining Purna Swaraj. Brave never run away from struggle. The one who runs by seeing the struggle is not brave. Gandhiji, along with his supporters, started the Dandi march. This march was 370 kilometers, which included Aslali, Bareja, Nadiad, Anand, Boryavi, Ras, Jambusar, Bharuch, Surat, Navsari, as well as small and large regions. During Dandi march in these regions, people were explained the reason for civil disobedience movement and breaking the salt law. As Dandi march passed through these small and large towns, people used to clean the village roads, decorate their houses with torrents, and showed conscience for this satyagraha. Dandi Yatra had a wonderful effect in creating astonishing faith, unity, and consciousness among people. All of the nation was having a wave of satyagraha. Gandhiji, along with his colleagues and supporters, reached Dandi after 24 days of march, 5th April 1930. On early morning of April 6th, Gandhiji broke the salt law by picking a handful of salt from the seacoast. In a loud voice, Gandhiji stated, "I have broken the salt law." And while addressing the people gathered there, he uttered, "I, by this event, am applying salt to the foundation of building in the form of British Empire." Shri Mahadev Bhai Desai has compared this event as Mahabinishkraman, the great renunciation. Journalists, photographers, writers, historians of India and across the world visited and published report about what they witnessed in their own newspapers and booklets. In this way, the Dandi Yatra, which started from Sabarmati Ashram on 12th March, was nationally acclaimed, achieved its physical completion, but it started applying salt to the foundation of building in the form of British Empire. Civil disobedience movement generated new national consciousness among people of India. The British police beat them mercilessly. Lathi charge, arrest, shooting and oppression on women and children continued, but agitation did not decrease. During Dandi March, numerous constructive programs like boycott of foreign clothes, prohibition of liquor, removing untouchability, Hindu-Muslim unity, and oath to do social services, etc. were held. Dandi Yatra and breaking of salt law brought not only nationwide consciousness, but it brought fame in aspects of non-violent struggle and movements worldwide. Processions, programs and assemblies were conducted for boycotting foreign goods, prohibition of foreign liquor, and picketing on liquor making, not giving revenue tax, satyagraha for removal of untouchability. To weaken these agitations and struggles, the government started lathi charge, imprisonment and other atrocities. People reacted by destroying of railway stations, post offices, police stations and other government buildings. Incidents like suppression of agitation under the leadership of Abdul Ghaffar Khan, Frontier Gandhi, struggle against foreign liquor under the leadership of Kasturba Gandhi in Delhi,
Dharasana,
in Surat and in Viramgam during the salt law agitation, renunciation of government services, as well as removal of children from government schools were the major highlights of these movements. Gandhi-Irwin Pact, Round Table Conference and Moratorium of Satyagraha. Gandhiji was called upon by the Britishers for the Round Table Conference related to the constitutional structure and reforms. First Round Table Conference was held, but with the absence of Congress leaders, it was futile. To reconcile with Congress, a pact between Gandhiji and Irwin was made, which was known as Gandhi-Irwin Pact, March 1931, in which permission of free collection or manufacture of salt by persons near the sea coast and permission of peaceful picketing were the main points. In the second Round Table Conference, Gandhiji was the only representative from Congress, and Britishers had discriminating points for various religious committees to which Gandhiji was deeply disappointed, and therefore the conference was dissolved. Quit India movement. Keeping in mind the World War situation, the Congress Working Committee decided to end the individual satyagraha, January 1942. The British government attempted to deceive people of India by Cripps' mission. So Indians were angry and dejected. Therefore, people of India no longer had faith in the British rulers. They assumed that the British did not wish to quit India. Gandhiji advised the people to come out of despair and be prepared to give a new and last fight. On August 9, 1942, resolution of Quit India movement was passed in the Working Committee of Congress held at Mumbai. On the second day of the resolution, Gandhiji, Vallabhbhai Patel, Jawaharlal Nehru, Maulana Azad and other eminent Congress leaders were arrested. Newspapers were banned. Regional and district level Congress leaders were arrested simultaneously. Arrest of Gandhiji and other leaders resulted in nationwide strike, and to this Gandhiji said, "This is the last fight in my life, and therefore people of India should make all attempt to achieve independence." He gave the slogan, "Do or die." Strikes during Quit India movement. The rural and urban regions of the country, including workers, farmers, youth, students, teachers, businessmen and women, were in the forefront of this movement. Workers went on strike in factories. Iron factories in Jamshedpur and cotton mills at Madras too were on strike. 1 lakh mill workers of 75 cotton mill industries in Ahmedabad went on peaceful strike for 105 days. Colleges and schools observed strike for nearly 3.5 months. Markets in Ahmedabad were closed. Harmful activities during Quit India movement. Anger against British government was being expressed from every nook and corner of the country. Suppression against peaceful people by the Britishers led to a violent situation as people not only ransacked the post offices, telegram departments, police stations, railway stations, government buildings, school and college buildings, railway lanes, pools, bridges and roads, but looted the assets and set on fire the government properties. In this, railway incurred the heaviest losses. In many of the areas, people used bombs. Failure of the government in crushing the struggle. The government tried to suppress the movement with hard hand. The struggle started from a small end to a large extent by ransacking government system. More than 70,000 people were imprisoned. 538 gunshots were fired. 1,028 people lost their lives. 3,200 people were injured. Students were injured in gunshots, especially in Ahmedabad and Patna. A unique political consciousness was created among the people. This movement gave clear warning to the British government and a message to the world at large that India cannot be enslaved anymore. The struggle really signaled by the people of India to Britishers to quit India. The people of India now wanted full independence. The amendment for dominion status was almost invisible by this struggle. After a struggle of 5 years, India achieved independence. Azad Hind Fauj and Subhash Chandra Bose. Subhash Chandra Bose was born in Cuttack in Orissa state, 23rd January 1897. His father, Rai Bahadur Jankinath Bose, was a government lawyer in British judiciary. His mother, Parvati Devi, was a philanthropist. Prediction was that this Bengali lad will become sincere servant of Britishers, but he went on to become a staunch freedom fighter against British Empire. After passing examination with good marks from Calcutta's Presidency College, he went to England for further studies. He passed the very difficult ICS, Indian Civil Service examination at 4th number and returned to Calcutta. Seeds of revolution were planted in his mind due to the insulting attitude and pride of the British professors at the Presidency College towards the Indians. He was very much interested in the Indian independence struggle. He became an active member of National Assembly. He joined the Swaraj Party in 1923. He soon became a very popular leader among youths. He was in the top in the civil disobedience movement and therefore jailed many times. At the young age of 41, he was elected as President of Congress Convention at Haripura, Surat, and showcased his ability. He left the Congress as difference of opinion with Gandhiji had increased, and he established a party, the Forward Bloc. To awaken plebiscite against Britishers, he travelled most of the regions of India. He was arrested under Indian Defence Code and imprisoned. During imprisonment, he was ill-treated. He was imprisoned at his place of residence as his health was deteriorating since he was fasting unto the death. He travelled in the disguise of Pathan from Calcutta via Peshawar, Kabul, Iran and Russia. Later on, he reached Berlin, Germany, 28th March 1942. Indians living in Germany gave him a warm welcome. He urged the people of India through Berlin radio to fight against British Empire. He also met Hitler in Germany and discussed in detail about the independence of India. He then went to Rome and Paris to establish military unit for the independence of India and recruited 3,000 Indians. Ras Bihari Bose, a revolutionary living in Japan, chained all the organization and established Indian Independence League. To make India free, Azad Hind Fauj was set up. A presence of 100 Indian delegates from Malaya, Japan, Sumatra, Java, Hong Kong, Borneo, Andaman, Burma, Brahmadesh, now Myanmar, were in the organization. And in that, Mohan Singh, a war prisoner arrested by Japan, was also present. Moreover, Ras Bihari Bose voluntarily retired as head of INA. Azad Hind Fauj and Indian Independence League. After breaking the tight British security, Subhash Chandra Bose cleverly reached Japan from Berlin in a submarine in 1943. Moreover, Ras Bihari Bose of Indian Independence League invited Subhash Chandra Bose to be the head of this league. Japan would provide every kind of help for the Indian freedom. It was promised that as Japanese army advances towards India, capturing Indian provinces, provisional governments would be formed and Japan would give them recognition. On July 2nd, 1943, Subhash Chandra Bose went to Singapore from Japan, and there he was elected as the President of Indian Independence League on July 4th, 1943. Moreover, Ras Bihari Bose voluntarily retired as head of Indian National Army, or Azad Hind Fauj, and appointed Subhash Chandra Bose as head of INA. Indians residing there got a proper and able leader for freeing their motherland. Since then, Subhash Chandra Bose was called Netaji. In his speeches and on radio, he gave slogans, "Chalo Delhi," "Let's march to Delhi," and "Tum mujhe khoon do, main tumhe azadi dunga," "Give me blood and I will give you freedom." With his skillful guidance, he formed the parallel government. He tried to convince and urged the Indians residing in Southeast Asia to sacrifice everything for the struggle of independence of India. Establishment of Provisional Government by Subhash Chandra Bose. Subhash Chandra Bose formed Provisional Indian Government and he became its Prime Minister. He allotted other departments to his companions and formed a cabinet. This government was recognized by Japan, Germany, Italy, nationalized China and Burma. This government recognized Hindi as a national language and tricolor as national flag. it was decided to have income by assisting Japan, independent role, and by property tax. Netaji visited Andaman and Nicobar Islands and named it as Shaheed or Martyr and Swarajya or Independence. Last step and martyrdom of Subhash Babu. In May 1944, under the leadership of Netaji, his military units captured Rangoon, Kohima, presently the capital of Nagaland. Then it marched towards Imphal, now capital of Manipur. But after the dropping of 2 atom bombs at Nagasaki and Hiroshima in Japan, the financial assistance to the provisional government stopped. British aircrafts started warfare against Azad Hind fauj, and so the condition became critical. On August 18, 1945, he started from Taipei Airport of Formosa for Tokyo, Japan. But his plane caught fire and he got serious burns, and while undergoing treatment, he died. The mystery of his death has remained unsolved till date. Achieving independence and partition of India. The commanders of Indian National Army were arrested as prisoners of war and were accused of treason and put on trial. Vallabhbhai Desai and Jawaharlal Nehru pleaded their case. The whole country took keen interest in this case. When the British government inflicted them with punishment, there were protests against them in the entire country. So, bowing to populist opinion, the government had to withdraw the punishment. These events, and with the naval mutiny of Bombay 1946, the British realized their rule in India will no longer be tenable. On February 20th, 1947, Attlee, the Prime Minister of Britain, announced that the British government shall give all the powers to the government of India as per the Cabinet Mission formula and shall quit India by June 1948. Thus, in a changed situation, Mountbatten was appointed as Viceroy in place of Lord Wavell. When he took charge of his post, communal riots had started in India. The condition of India had become pathetic. In July 1946, the Congress secured 201 seats out of 210 and Muslim League 73 seats out of 78 from provinces of India for the prior formation of the Constituent Assembly. The League pressurized the government for Pakistan on 16th August 1946. So terrible communal riots and tumult spread over India. Looking at the situation in India, Sardar Patel, Jawaharlal Nehru and other Congress leaders felt there was no other alternative except accepting the demand of Muslim League for Pakistan, because Muslim League and Jinnah insisted for separate Pakistan. The Muslim League boycotted the first cabinet meeting on December 9, 1946. The Muslim League executive held on January 31, 1947, decided to boycott the cabinet meeting and gave a rapid and extensive program for the demand of Pakistan. Mountbatten convinced Nehru and Sardar Patel, who understood the matter, that having a well-organized central government having administrative units under the center shall be more peaceful and progressive instead of weak central government consisting of many autonomous and opposite constituents. National leaders found this argument acceptable. Sardar Patel and Nehru discussed this matter with Gandhiji, who also helplessly accepted arrangement of partition of India with heavy hearts. Mountbatten Plan 1947 and Partition of India. On March 24th, Viceroy Mountbatten presented his scheme. According to him, there was no alternative other than the partition of India. National and prolific leaders like Sardar Patel understood the matter. After many discussions and pondering, finally on June 3rd, 1947, Viceroy Mountbatten decided to plan the partition of India. This plan is known as Mountbatten Plan. The Congress leaders and Muslim League accepted this plan. when Mountbatten plan started getting implemented, the people of East Bengal and Sylhet province of Assam decided to join East Pakistan. West Bengal and East Bengal were affiliated with India as per decision of their assembly. West Punjab joined with Pakistan. It was decided to affiliate Northwest province, Sindh and Baluchistan with Pakistan. Indian Independence Act, July 1947. The British Parliament passed the Indian Independence Act according to Mountbatten Plan. According to this, India's first Governor-General was Mountbatten and Janab Jinnah was the Governor-General of Pakistan. By this act, India's dependence on British rule came to an end. Therefore, Gandhiji considers this act as the one and only best and beneficial act given by the Britishers to India. The last Viceroy of the British government organized a function in New Delhi at the midnight of August 14th. The Union Jack of England was brought down from the pole and the Indian national flag tricolour was hoisted. The documents attributing independence to India were handed over by Mountbatten to C. Rajagopalachari, the first Governor-General of independent India. Entire atmosphere was full of excitement. Entire process of transfer of power was completed. August 15th, 1947 was an excellent dawn for India. All celebrated the first Independence Festival very pleasantly and cheerfully in the entire country. Everywhere, people hung torans, a good omen, on doors. Sweets were distributed in schools. Many people who had taken vow felt relieved on its fulfillment, but Gandhiji was shocked due to the partition of India, and therefore he was deeply plunged into grief and drifted into meditation. India becoming independent and the immediate problems of it. India and Pakistan, two separate independent nations, came into existence as a result of Mountbatten Plan and Indian Independence Act 1947. The resolution to the following problems had to be found out. 1. Reorganization of military forces. 2. Disputes over assets and properties. 3. Debts and credits. 4. Problem and settlement of refugees. 5. Public services and the arrangement of civil servants and administrative staff. 6. Demarcation of international boundaries on eastern and western side of India to be fixed, etc. A 5-member committee consisting of 2 representatives each from India and Pakistan was formed under the chairmanship of Lord Mountbatten. The committee appointed different commissions consisting of experts of relevant subjects to solve all the problems. In case of any differences of opinion, both the nations admitted to accept the final decision given by an arbitrator consisting of 1 representative of India and 1 of Pakistan under the chairmanship of the former Chief Justice of India. Military Commandant General of India complied the partition of army military weapons, etc. The British Army left India by February 28, 1948. All officers and employees of administration, military, judiciary were given opportunity to choose whether they would serve India or Pakistan. They were given assurance about their pay, allowance, security of service, pension, etc. A large number of refugees from both countries migrated, leaving their houses and properties. India solved the tremendous problem of their rehabilitation and restoration very skillfully and patiently. The then Deputy Prime Minister and Home Minister, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, merged about 562 small and big princely states of India into Indian Union. Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel's strong determination, iron will, and diplomatic negotiations solved the problems. Yet, long-term planning to find a solution to problems like effects of communal riots due to partition, the shock of Mahatma Gandhi's death, to make independent India, self-reliant with the help of good governance, the weak condition of Indian agriculture, to create an atmosphere of peace and tranquility in the country, the internal-external security of the country, etc., became necessary.